Today at the Washi Tape Shop, we are challenging 4 creators to complete the same journaling prompt in their style. First up, we've got Mihaela from Bloom and Dot on Instagram.
So my name is Michaela and I live in Berlin in Germany, but I'm originally from Bulgaria. I studied architecture like Grace, but I finished my master's about 2 years ago, and now currently I work in a PR agency that is focused on architecture and design. I started bullet journaling about a year and a half ago in November 2020 because it was just the perfect mix of basically my two passions, which are art and organization. So it was just a perfect fit for me.
Lawrence from Journal Lawrence on Instagram.
My name is Lawrence Sabidor and I am 19 years old. I am from the Philippines. I love to draw. I love to make bullet journals. I started sharing my bullet journal spread on September 1, 2019. On my personal account, I was inspired by Amanda Rachley, and in May 2020, because it was forbidden to go outside because of the COVID-19 pandemic, I started and I even thought of making my art account, and I called it Journal Lawrence.
Grace from grace.journals and solarisstudio.shop on Instagram.
Hello everyone, I'm Grace. I'm from Italy. I'm 22 years old and I've been bullet journaling for about 6 years now. And I studied architecture. And yeah, I like every kind of art, architecture, brush lettering, doodles, bullet journal, etc. Everything that is related to art.
And myself, Iwana, from the Washi Tape Shop team and my personal account, Mistral Spirit on Instagram. My name is Iwana. I started in 2017. I'm 22. I am calling from Toronto and I work with the Washi Tape Shop as well. And here's our challenge. Design an August cover spread on 2 pages, incorporating the randomly generated prompt Bouquet, Fantasy, and Solitude. Our color scheme has to include purple and to incorporate either the time travel or academia washi tape sets. And of course, it's all got to be in under 20 minutes. We talked a little bit about this, but what did you guys each find to be the most challenging part of it all?
Who wants to go first?
I'll start so that I can say the easy one. It was the time for me. So yeah, I'm not so good at estimating how long art is going to take me because I tend to add all these details.
I think I'll go next. I think everything that you said, Ioana, fits for me as well. The time and also kind of stripping everything down was quite difficult for me. And also actually because I haven't used really stickers or washi tape in a bullet journal team in a while. I usually use washi tape in pen pal letters or in my reading journal. It was a little bit of a challenge to incorporate the set that I have, especially with this color palette, because I tend to kind of stick to just like one color normally when I'm doing very simple spreads. So just making the elements kind of work together was a challenge for me for sure.
I use like washi tapes on weekly spreads mostly. So using them in a cover page was quite different.
I was nervous when I read the challenge because usually my teams per month consume more than an hour. So now I will just simplify what I do so as not to exceed 20 minutes.
Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. So I mentioned earlier that I've already seen everyone's videos because I was speeding them up. So I couldn't not look. But I'm excited for you guys to see everyone's because it's cool how we each interpreted it differently. Are you guys ready?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
So talk us through your approach for the prompt.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't really incorporate all of the elements, I have to say. Like there isn't really anything, I guess, that really represents solitude, unless you want to go like really deep and say that I use very simple shapes and more standalone elements, maybe. So basically, I kind of went the more obvious way of trying to portray a sort of bouquet and using the washi tape from, is it the Time Traveler set? This is what it's called, I think. And using them kind of as shapes rather than for what is on them, I guess. So I did these very kind of abstract and more whimsical, maybe you can say, geometrical shapes like circles, and I do an arch on the other side, which this is maybe the part that I would call cheating a bit because I cut it out in advance. I think my video was 15 minutes, so basically I probably would have been able to cut it out also within the 20-minute time frame, but obviously all of the sketching and stuff also I did in advance. This is a kind of very simple, whimsical bouquet of leaves and berries set on purple paper with the washi tape as kind of like the more decorative element. And it was definitely kind of a different approach than what I usually do, because I usually actually, or at least in the last couple of months, I've used exclusively watercolors for my themes, and they take a long time and are quite complex and kind of tend to be more on the realistic side, I think. So this was kind of a nice departure from that, and just trying to make something minimal but also a bit whimsical and following the prompts. And yes, you can see me here. I stamped the letters for the month of August because I just think it looks really nice stamped. And I also added a little quote at the end and just some white highlights with a gel pen, because I really think that that makes kind of the illustration pop a bit more.
Also, I was going to say, because you mentioned you don't feel like you incorporated the Solitude theme very much. The shape that you put on the left, it kind of reminds me of a window in, an old library or something like that. So it's a really good way to incorporate that theme.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
If I can say something, it's very cool, Mihaela, watching you using another medium, because I've been following your works for such a long time and I love your watercolor style. And see you using markers, piece of colorful paper is super cool, because you made a very stunning cover page and it's not like the medium you usually go for. So congrats, because I really like it.
Thank you.
I agree
Yes,
with that.
I agree with that. Mihaela did a great job today. I love the cover page. How simple is that? It looked like elegant, to be honest.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's also nice to have a challenge like this every now and again to kind of see what other direction you can go into, because we tend to usually stick with the things that we feel comfortable with. So it's nice to branch out and experiment.
The whole concept was fantasy, bouquet, solitude. And for fantasy, I wanted to incorporate like these spiral type of motifs. And then in order to capture the solitude, I wanted to make it look like we're peering into the month of August. And my monthly setup always includes these habit trackers. And I definitely struggled with the color scheme. But I ended up going with watercolor for the supply because I thought it'd be an easier way to cover a lot of ground. With marker, I'd probably take longer to fill it in. And now I'm just filling in the month. And then I added a lot of kind of like fine liner outlines as well. I think the spirals worked really well because it makes it look very whimsical. Here I was trying to mix different shades of purple, and I haven't actually done very much formal color theory. So I wasn't sure like which of my watercolor palette I needed to mix to make a more crisp purple. And I ended up kind of mixing it on the paper too.
That's interesting because this is why I didn't choose to use watercolor actually, because mixing super quickly usually doesn't work for me.
Yes.
But I think it looks really nice, the gradient, even though it was done quickly.
Thank you. Oh, this part, I'll say, I wanted to use the technique of cutting out the flowers for the washi tape. I was like really rushing here because I was running out of time. So the cutting out was a little tricky. And that's the bouquet theme. One thing I was curious about actually, while I was making this, I was thinking ahead of how you guys are going to set up the cover page. And I think all of you just did the month, right? Did you include, I don't know, habit trackers or a calendar or anything like that?
I didn't, because I usually don't. I usually have separate spreads, like the cover is kind of just the opening page that sets the tone, and everything that is kind of more useful, like a calendar or trackers or weeklies, come afterwards for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Totally.
And so that's the finished product.
It definitely looks very whimsical. I really like kind of the direction, but I also thought about cutting out, I think the washi tape that I have has dahlias on it. I think that's the flower that it has on it. And I thought about cutting it out, but I would never have made it nicely in like 20 minutes. So I just scrapped that idea.
Yeah, some of my roses are more finely cut than others. Like the ones in the top right are a little bit rough.
For my theme for August, I decided to choose to draw the mushroom house with a lot of flowers surrounding it, because when I watch fantasy movies when I was a kid, I always noticed the house made of mushrooms, so I decided to do it. I also used some academia washi tape set because the violet and brown color match together. I decided to blend the black and layer it with light purple with light fuchsia color, and then I color the body of a mushroom with brown with a vibrant color palette. It actually blends on the papers.
That's your favorite medium to marker, right?
Yes, I love blending colors.
I really like these shades of purple. The leaves are very, very cool.
Oh, thank you so much. Since the time allotment was only 20 minutes, I could not start on the next page. I only finished one page. However, I'm happy with the process. I had a hard time, but I was happy because I just finished the cover page in 20 minutes. This is actually my first time. So, as you can see, guys, I layer it with washi tapes, vintage washi tape from the washi tape shop, and the happy journaling set, and adding some highlights to make some details on the mushrooms.
I'm totally going to take out my white pen and keep it here on my desk from now on because the white on both yours and Mihaela's is so cool.
I mean, the white gel pen, I always feel like it just adds the perfect final touch basically on everything. Marker, medium, like watercolor, gouache, everything looks better with some white highlights.
And I have to say, Lawrence, one thing I'm always impressed on your page and your bullet journal setups is the color schemes. Like you do such a good job combining colors and making it look bold and colorful, but making them go really well together too.
Thank you so much. Happy to hear that.
So basically, I made a very simple theme and I focused mainly on the bouquet theme. And I used like the purple color with a rose salmon color and also a green. And I made like this bouquet on the left corner of the page with all these flowers that like fly all around the page. And I included leaves and flowers of different colors. Later on the video, you can see that I also made like a sort of rectangle all over the composition. And on the left page, I made a very simple quote. And it's something that I don't usually do because usually on my left page, I have the playlist spread of the month before. But since you guys asked for a 2 pages spread, I decided to incorporate this very simple quote with all these flowers that make a circle around it. I keep it very simple and I use my go-to mediums, which are brush pens, and I really like using the different thicknesses of the brush. So the fine liner, but at the same time, the brush pen of the brush pens. Yeah, I feel like this is a theme that everyone can do. It's very simple. They're just flowers that float around. I don't feel like it's very a theme for August, but it's very like versatile. So you can do it for many, many different months.
What do you normally do for August? You said, because I agree, like for some reason, flowers is not what I think of when I think of August. What was?
Yeah. I usually like to make like maybe something related to the beach, but also to the summer in general. Like last year, I made a landscape theme and it was like a desert landscape, very minimal, very abstract. And I used mainly like pinks, oranges, browns, the colors that reminds me of summer, pretty much. And I also made flamingos, which are like an animal that actually reminds me of summer. Using like flowers and the bouquet theme was pretty cool too. And then I used the washi tapes of the travel time set to fill the empty spot on the.
You're kind of struggling to open it up there, aren't you?
Yeah, it was such a pain in this. I used like the glue to stick it. Yeah, I cheated. I'm sorry.
I really like your calligraphy. It's so pretty.
Thank you very much.
And the colors just like go really nicely together.
I think I used 10 minutes before starting recording to choose the palette, but at the final product, I feel like it's pretty cool.
Let's wrap up on one question. Going forward, is there something that you saw that inspired you today that you're going to try next time?
Maybe doing like Michaela, using different paper and maybe doing some layering. That is something that I made only once in all my bullet journals. Watching it using actually paper of different colors, using different mediums was very inspiring. And also using washi tapes again on a cover page.
I love everyone's cover pages. I want to try another medium like what Mihaela make on her bullet journal today. I like to layer soon.
Yeah, I think for me, it would just in general be trying to simplify things because you can see just like four very different styles and aesthetics, but how just cool and interesting things still can happen even if you don't have that much time. So for me, I think that's definitely something that I want to try.
And that was our Washi Tape Shop Journaling Challenge. Make sure to check out these incredible creators' Instagram pages and YouTube channels. And thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, thank you to the journalers that took part in this challenge today.
I never made something like this, so it was pretty fun.
Hey, thank you so much for making this happen and for thinking of it.
It was my pleasure and honor to meet you guys virtually. Thank you so much for that.
Bye, everyone.
Bye everyone.